Hello, and thanks for joining us for Prepped and Polished Education and Inspiration. I'm your host, Alexis Avila. I'm an educator, online entrepreneur, and founder of tutoring and test prep firm Prepped and Polished, broadcasting today from South Natick, Massachusetts. And Prepped and Polished Education and Inspiration is your destination for groundbreaking insight from today's most influential educators, leaders, and minds on the planet. Our show is brought to you today by Plan for College Videos. Nationally known college planning expert Paul Hemphill has a wonderful series of college planning videos, over 100 of them, and his videos ask all kinds of questions with answers that parents don't know to ask, and parents don't know what they don't know, and the frustration ends with his videos, so check them out. planning-for-college.com/videos. And get to know the Prepped and Polished community. You can find us on Facebook, type in Prepped and Polished, on YouTube, type in Prepped and Polished, or you can go on Twitter at Prep Polished. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Joining our show today is young adult author, teacher, and teen life coach, Cyndy Etler. Cyndy Etler has spent the past decade teaching troubled teens and their teachers in schools across America. Cyndy's work has been featured in media outlets such as NPR, and it has been praised by best-selling authors such as Ellen Hopkins, LouAnne Johnson and C.J.Lyons. Cyndy's currently at work on her second young adult memoir, COILED. Cyndy shares her amazing journey. She, at a time, went homeless at 13 and went summa cum laude by 30, as well as she's going to share her inspirational work helping struggling teens. And to our listeners, if you have any questions or comments, please send your questions to radio@preppedandpolished.com or just leave a comment in the comment box, and we'll get back to you immediately. Cyndy, thank you so much for joining us on Prepped and Polished Education and Inspiration. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for coming on. And a lot of our listeners are teens. What were you like as a child, as a teen?
Well, I guess I was like a marshmallow that you put in a campfire and let it burn. I was crispy and crusty and hard on the outside, and then just mushy and mushy and gushy on the inside. So there was a crust that was meant to hide the innards, the need, and the sadness inside.
Wow. What an analogy. And when growing up around that time, who were some of your influences?
Well, definitely there was Judy Blume, the author Judy Blume. So many women of my generation just devoured her books and learned a lot about kind of how to navigate childhood and the preteen years through reading her books. I also had, when I was younger, there were some adults that were sort of peripheral friends of the family. There was one woman who I met at church, just mentors who saw something in me, something good, and nurtured that. As I turned older and became a teenager, oh my gosh, my English teachers saved me. They saved me. It seemed like they were the only people that liked me, which is why I am an English teacher today.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, here's a little bit more of a broad question, but can you share with us a little bit about yourself, but can you focus on a couple pivotal moments that brought you to this moment now where you're an author, you're a teacher, and you work with struggling teens?
Mm-hmm. As you mentioned, I was homeless when I was 13, and I was lucky enough to find myself in a youth shelter, a shelter for homeless youth in Bridgeport, Connecticut. It was called Janice House. The staff there, they were phenomenal. They had rules and boundaries that I couldn't push. And earlier in my life, when someone had a rule for me, they were a bleep about it. They were a jerk about it. It was, you are going to do this. You are going to do this, period. The staff at Janice's house said, you're going to do this, or you'll have to not watch TV tonight. And they made it a choice. Either I could do what I had to do, or I could lose a privilege, but it was my choice. That was phenomenal for me. They cared at the same time. And literally, I decided at that time, at the age of 13, that I was going to be that adult. So that's really the moment. And I'm not kidding. I didn't make that up. That's totally true. I decided to follow in their footsteps because even at that age, I knew what a difference that was. Adults treating me that way. Then because my childhood was the way it was, it took me a long time to get to college. But when I got to college, I loved what I was studying. Again, great teachers, great professors. I started getting A's. I got a 4.0. I started winning awards. And I was like, oh, this is nice. And then through my college, I started tutoring at actually Dorchester High School, which you probably know, which is an inner city, very tough school in Boston. And so now I'm an adult and a college student at Dorchester High School, where you have to walk through a metal detector to go into the school because so many kids bring weapons. And I loved it. I loved the kids. They were living hard like I was. And they were smart. They were street smart and funny and caring, and they didn't let it cripple them. They didn't let their circumstances cripple them. And so I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. So that was a long answer. But I could go on and on. You know,
Oh yeah, I mean, you just scratched the surface, I have a feeling, but I thought that was really interesting when you that experience at Dorchester High. I mean, do you think that a lot of the inner city schools are misinterpreted?
I do think they are misinterpreted, but in a very deep way. I mean, middle class culture isn't exposed to what really happens in those neighborhoods. So people have a lot of perceptions based on the media and based on the news. And so while most inner city schools, it's not as if, you know, everybody's learning every day and they bring the teacher an apple. No, it's not like that. But it's not like, let me put it this way. I've worked for a long, long time in a lot of tough schools. I leave my bag out. I leave my wallet in my bag, my car keys. I have never had anything stolen from me. Not a thing, not a pencil. So I think the misperception is that all of these kids are hoodlums and they're bad. No, they're not. I care about them and respect them, so they would never do anything like that to me. And that rule is applicable to anybody who respects them and is cool with them and isn't judging them. Again, that one I could go on for 12 years about.
Oh yeah, you're definitely hitting some major, issues in our society, and
yes,
that's amazing. Now you mentioned on your website somewhere that on CyndyEtler.com that your approach to working with teens is unique, and that you don't preach to them, but rather you relate to them. Can you explain your style a little bit?
I actually, a half an hour ago, was in a gymnasium with 30 kids, none of whom speak English. These are kids from Congo, Ecuador, China, Japan. Some of them are autistic. Some of them were in gangs in their home country. So a really diverse crowd of kids. And all of them are having a blast and laughing and playing soccer and playing basketball and somehow communicating with each other, even though it's like the Tower of Babel. It's the Gymnasium of Babel, you know. And the other teachers came in, my colleagues in this summer program, and I was like, oh, so I suddenly saw the gym through their eyes. They thought it was too loud. They thought that it wasn't okay that one girl was lying down while she was talking. They thought that, you know, this boy should be punished for whatever. And to me, the way I'm looking at it is they're having fun. They're creating a way to communicate. So it's loud. I don't need to tamp down who the kids are. And by not trying to tamp them down and by not telling them, you need to do this and you need to do this, the kids respond to me. Because I am, I don't want to just say because I'm cool to them, because that's too generic, but because I accept them as they are and take them at face value, and I only criticize the behaviors that, if they don't change this behavior, it's going to get them in trouble. That's the only thing I comment on. The kids respond in ways that they don't cause trouble in my classroom. They don't act like bad kids in my class. The worst kids act like young professionals with me because they feel respected and cared about.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it's so simple. I was talking to a kid through my teen life coaching business the other day, and she was saying she did something really stupid, and she's in trouble for it. And she was saying that, you know, when she goes out, her mom reads her texts. And I was like, why? I said to the kid, I don't understand why most grown-ups, when they stop being a grown-up, they forget that for a teenager, privacy is everything. And for a teenager, you have to be able to stay in touch with your friends or you're going to be an outcast. Like, I think I'm kind of trying to touch on too many things, but I guess difference is between my approach and the approach of many, many other adults is that I approach the teenagers from a teenage point of view with adult knowledge. So the only guidance I try to give is on the stuff that they really need to be guided on, and then I tell them why. It's never, ever, ever because I said so. So they have a reason for wanting to do what I suggest.
Wow, that's amazing work.
Thank you.
But like you're saying, it is simple, and a lot of people could, if they just apply some of these principles, they'd do a lot better job at working with them.
Yes, they would. It's so easy. It is so easy to make a bad teenager good. It's so easy.
Wow. Any success stories on how you were able to help say a struggling teen overcome her struggles a little bit? Absolutely. So many. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I'll give you two. I'll give you one from a while ago and one from literally today. Okay.
The one from a while ago, I won't give the kid's name, but I taught first in a small town high school, and it was very closed-minded. You had to be the way. It was a small town in the South. You had to be a small-town Southerner, or else you were not going to be happy. So when I taught at that high school, this young man was miserable because he's gay. He ran away from home and tried to commit suicide. Then I moved to the alternative school in this small town. And, there's my former student. So he got out of the institution and was sent to the alternative school. And lucky for him, he got to be in my class and working together. I think I was the first adult who ever conveyed to him, dude, you're really, really smart. Look at what you just did. Look at how smart this is. And all the good things, having nothing to do with his life outside of school. Just holding up a mirror and showing him the good. Fast forward 8, 9 years. We're Facebook friends. The kid is all smiles all the time. He looks like he looks like a young professional. Other people comment, wow, you're so happy in your life. And I think for some kids I may have kind of literally helped to save their life. So that's really dramatic, but it's also really true. Okay.
Amazing.
Do you want this other one, or do you have a whole list of questions and I'm talking too long?
No. I want to hear the other one.
Okay. This was from this summer program. This is a girl from Congo. She does speak English, and she just has an attitude. She has an attitude. And a lot of the other staff in the school who know that she's in my class have commented she's got to change that. She's being blatantly disrespectful to teachers. She's got to change that, or else when she gets back to her home school, she's going to be in trouble all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was working on her, and in my class, she wasn't as disrespectful, but it was still there. Mm-hmm. This stuff is ingrained, these behaviors. Okay, so today they had to make a poster about what did I learn in summer school? What was the best part about summer school? Okay, so she's on Google Translate. She won't let me see what she's writing, what she's translating from French to English. And then she makes her little poster, and she shows it to me, and it says, what I learned at summer school was a new outlook on education. I learned from Miss Etler that I'm a different person than I thought I was. And, like, all this stuff, she's literally, just like when I was 13 at Janice's house, she is recognizing, oh, my gosh, this adult has had a profound effect on me. And she is recognizing that over this summer, her whole attitude about school changed. And that opened a door for me to go up to the board and draw a picture of her. And I said, okay, you've got one part of your brain that's rebel and one part that's smart and hardworking and intellectual. And
wow.
I said, before summer school, this huge part of your brain was rebel, this tiny part was intellectual. Now it's reversed. Now this huge part of your brain is intellectual, and this tiny part is rebel. Can you keep it that way when you go back to your school? What's going to happen if you're a rebel? Well, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. Okay, so literally it was, a teachable moment. It's so corny, but it's right there. This kid, I really think that conversation might keep her out of jail. And maybe not. Maybe I'm living in a fairy tale world, but there's a lot of really profound stuff that happens with teenagers when you kind of can take them at face value and appreciate and respect their teenagerhood. I'm preaching. I'm just preaching right now.
No, this you're the expert, and you didn't give up on her, and a lot of people would. So
it's true.
And look what happens.
Yes.
Cyndy, cyberbullying and bullying in general is a growing problem in the U.S. And there's a statistic: 282,000 students are bullied each month in high schools throughout the U.S. Over 50% of those are bullied online. I was wondering if you've seen this type of new bullying going on today, and if you, how can we kind of stop it from becoming this big problem?
I have seen it, and especially for the girls, it can cripple them.
Okay.
The boys are, give me 100 teenage boys and 100 teenage girls. There's going to be like 5 of those teenage boys who really deeply are going to be affected by words that their peers say. 95 of the girls are going to be affected by words that their peers say. It's just a different, the genders tend to compete in different ways. So I think it's a lot worse for the girls, and especially for the younger girls, junior high girls. As I was mentioning before about that teen I'm working with currently who is in trouble and therefore can't talk to her friends, if teenage girls, especially if you are cut off from the group, either because somebody decides they don't like you, or you're grounded and you can't talk to your friends, or whatever the reason is. If you are cut off from your group, it's dangerous. That people suddenly start talking about you to make themselves look better and feel better, and then when you are back in school face to face with these people, if you go to the cafeteria and you don't have anybody to sit with, oh my gosh, that's horrible. And the teachers won't let you leave the cafeteria. I remember the pain of that so clearly. And so this is why my heart goes out to these kids who are experiencing this. And with the online stuff, we adults, we don't see it, so the kids can say whatever they want, and we really can't stop it unless the kids have the kind of parents who are really involved in monitoring that, which is sort of its own ills. Because then you're the kid who has a parent who's too much, controlling you and forming you.
But the Facebook stuff, I mean, now the kids from different countries can hear the gossip about you.
Right, absolutely. So there's a couple of things that I do, and my reach with this is not very far. My reach with this is only the kids that I actually have contact with, unfortunately. But there are two things that I do. One, because I am friends on Facebook with former students, not with current students, but with former students. When I see anything like that, like negative comments being made that are just snotty, that are bullying, I will say the opposite of it on Facebook. I won't say, you're bad for bullying. Instead, I'll say, if it's a comment like, whatever, making fun of somebody's shoes, I'll say something like, I don't know what you're talking about. I think those shoes are fly. Just something to contradict it to boost the bullied kid up.
Nice.
Same thing in a classroom. If anybody makes a comment about whatever, one thing, somebody will call somebody gay or whatever, I'll say, that's cool, what a compliment. My sister's gay, fantastic. That kind of, like, just to take a negative, make it positive.
And they respond to that?
They do. Nice. They do. Kids they like slap their hand to their mouth and their like eyes light up. I'm like, yeah. So if you call somebody gay in my classroom, consider it the biggest compliment. Okay, nice. So back to whatever we're talking about, Yeah. And same thing with whatever the insult is that somebody tries to sling. But even more effective, there was a girl, again, teen life coaching, that was sort of a lead queen bee in her little clique of junior high friends, was turning all the other girls against this one girl. And she didn't know why. And because it was junior high, nobody would tell her why. So there were just these mean texts coming at her, Joanne's having a party and you're not invited. And I was sitting there with the kid as this was happening. So I was like, let me have your phone. And she handed it over. And I texted in, with her permission, before I hit send, I texted, okay, cool, I got plans that night anyway.
Nice.
And just a few things like that. Like, in other words, I was pretending to be the teen, painting a picture of, okay, whatever, do your thing, I don't care. And suddenly, like, literally within 10 seconds, the friends were now texting, oh, no, actually, we're doing this other thing, we're going to Carolyn's. Can you come with us? Just like that.
Wow.
That fast. So, really, the antidote, truly, and I know this from being the loser when I was a kid, from being the kid nobody liked. And now, as an adult, everybody wants to be my friend, and it's because I don't care. It's because when you don't care what people think, then suddenly everybody wants to be around you. And that's way too simplistic. Like, you can't just tell a teenager, oh, I don't care what they think. It's not that easy. And again, I'm giving you an answer that's 20 minutes, but in a nutshell, if you can act like you don't care what they're saying and convey that to them with words like that, cool. That's what a compliment. Thank you. Just like my hero, whoever, insert word of celebrity who's gay. It just stops. Suddenly you become I'm trying to figure out how to say this without swearing, but you become the tough guy. You become the untouchable that nobody wants to mess with.
That's awesome.
When you stop caring. Does that all make sense?
Makes perfect sense, and it's applicable to adults too. I mean,
absolutely.
Tell us about okay, so you wrote a book, Straightling, and it's your personal memoir about your years homeless as a teen. Do you feel like you put it all out there? Are you happy with the result?
I'm very happy with the result. It was about when I was homeless, and then I was locked up in a cult, in this weird government endorsed cult money making scheme. that was part of the Just Say No campaign. So I was accused of being a drug addict, even though I had tried smoking pot 3 times. Really, I had ran away because I was being abused. But this group was capitalizing on parents' malcontent with their teenagers to get money, and that's what the book is all about.
Wow.
And the results, I am very happy with the results, first of all, because once I wrote the book, I'm no longer haunted by the demons. It's just all gone. It's like I'm free now. And that's fantastic. Yeah. But all these people that were in that same program, it's called Straight Incorporated, all of these people who were in that program and are haunted by it, I gave voice to what they couldn't say, what they couldn't explain. So I just have one group of people who are in there that they have kind of a meeting every couple of weeks to get together and support each other. Somebody sent a copy of the book back to me with all of their comments written in it, like thanking me for doing this. So, that's phenomenal. And Ellen Hopkins, the young adult author of Crank, like most teenage girls and a lot of the boys have read the book Crank. She blurbed it and put her name on the cover saying that she thinks the book is fantastic. I mean, like, I can die satisfied because, this is phenomenal. Like, literally my dream has come true.
It's like the new version of Judy Blume.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yep.
And what's COILED? Are you finished with this book, or is this in the process?
I am finished with it, but I am in the editing stages. So the book is written, but I need to tweak some parts. The editing takes me a lot longer than the writing. So that one is sort of on a back burner. Plus, an agent recently picked up Straightling and COILED and the next book, and she's going to be selling them to a larger publisher as a trilogy. So it's really kind of all. I now have to wait to follow somebody's dictates, which is great, which is fantastic. I have an agent, that's crazy.
But more writing is inevitable.
Absolutely.
So Cyndy, what's your favorite part of the work you do? What do you enjoy the most?
It's the kids, and I have to try to distill what it is about the kids. I really think it is seeing the change and knowing, okay, there's this young man, again, who was in the summer program. He is Chinese. He knows like 5 words in English, and I can tell that he's autistic. Mm-hmm. On the first day of the summer program, he would just sit there and stare at his desk, and he wouldn't say anything. Now, today, and this has been going on for a couple of weeks in the gym, he's got a huge smile on his face. He's playing basketball. He's so good at it. He is teaching other kids, even girls. He is teaching them how to play basketball. The change in that kid, in his confidence, that changes. It's like a railroad track. He switched railroad tracks in the course of his life. It's going to go in a new direction because of the confidence in himself that he gained from being in a classroom with an adult who is leading the tone of the class in a way that is complimentary of him and that encourages exploration and that allows mistakes. That's such a mouthful. The short answer is, the most satisfying thing is I know that I change lives in a really big way. Like, who gets to go to work and do that? I guess brain surgeons, but, this is way cooler.
That's awesome. How do you find the parents and dealing with the parents of struggling teens you work with?
It really depends. The sad thing is the kids who are really struggling the most, like I was when I was young, that kind of struggles, those are the parents who aren't involved and do not get in touch with me. Mm-hmm. So for those kids, I am their parent in the classroom.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You set the limits and set the rules and
yeah, exactly. And I have to teach them how to act and how to. I mean, in one school, I actually had to. Some girls came to me and said, "Is that like this girl smells bad?" And I had to go buy hygiene products and bring in a little basket and explain to her very delicately how and why to use these things. You know, but again, that's a pretty powerful thing. Like when I'm on my deathbed, I'm not going to feel like I wasted my life, you know?
Right.
And then the parents who contact me for teen life coaching, they're always like really cool. I tell them, look, dude, I'm not going to tell you what your teen tells me unless I have the teen's permission. And they're like, that's okay. I just want things to work out for my kid. And I'm like, wow, you are a cool parent. So that's been my experience. I know that some of my colleagues who teach in you know, kind of wealthier schools, they have a very different experience because parents are very, very concerned about college applications and my child needs an A and this kind of stuff. And I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah. The bridge from teenage to young adulthood is an exciting time, but it can be a confusing time, and especially right before like that college, young adulthood transition. So if we have a teen who's listening to the podcast today, what piece of advice would you have for him or her?
In general?
Yeah, in general.
In general. Okay. In general, I think I would go back to that cure for the bullying thing, and that is whatever it is about you that is different from everybody else around you, play that thing up. Get proud of it.
Nice.
And play it up, because that's going to be your armor, and that's going to be what makes you money, and that's what's going to make you really, really cool, especially when you're out of high school. So try it. So to make that advice smaller, whatever that thing is that's different about you, maybe you play the violin and all your friends are into partying, or, you know what I mean? Maybe you, oh gosh, what's something that a lot of high school kids would think is really dorky? Maybe you really, really care about your grades and the rest of your friends don't. Or maybe you want to go on a mission trip this summer and everybody else wants to go to cheerleading camp. Whatever it is that's different about you and that other kids can sometimes give you a hard time for, take a day and just kind of wear that thing on your sleeve, like at lunch. I'm going on a mission trip this summer. Bring it up first. Be the first one to say it. I'm going to go to Guatemala, and I'm going to be building houses, and it's going to be really hot, and I'm going to be really dirty, and I'm going to really do something good for people, and talk about it in a way like you're really proud, and then watch people's reactions. If you will try that, I bet you will see people have to step back. People have to step back. They can't make fun of you if you're proud of something. They can't. You can't be uncool if you're proud.
Right.
Am I making sense?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just loving yourself and appreciating what you are good at, and not worrying about what the world thinks. Just go for it. Go for it.
Yep. Act like it's cool. Even if you don't think it's cool yet, act like it's cool. And it will be. It gets cool.
That's so good. How can we find you, Cyndy? Work with you, order your books? Please plug yourself a bit. Okay.
Well, the easiest thing is to go to my website, CyndyEtler.com. Cyndy is C-Y-N-D-Y. Etler is E-T-L-E-R. So from there, you can basically find anything else. Let's see. So for the book is Straightling, like straight and narrow, with L-I-N-G on the end. Because in Straight Incorporated, we were not teenagers, we were straightlings, like earthlings.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that weird? It was a cult. It had, weird. Yeah, very weird, which is why the book is Straightling. So you can find that on Amazon or on my website, or you can order it from Barnes & Noble. Life coaching is theteenlifecoach.com. So that
Awesome.
one's easy to find.
Well,
yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Cyndy.
Yeah.
I appreciate your courage and for your empowering work you do with struggling teens.
Yeah.
And, thanks for coming on.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
And this wraps up our show today with young adult author, teacher, and teen life coach Cyndy Etler. And to learn more about the work Cyndy does helping teens and young adults, you can visit cyndyetler.com, CYNDYETLER.com. And while you're there, pick up a copy of her compelling teen memoir, Straightling. Thank you for joining us on Prep and Polish Education and Inspiration.